may not possess a lot of things, but there's one thing I surely have, a loser mindset. When I started this YouTube channel, I planned to have 1,000 subscribers in 10 years, not like now. So for the past couple of days, I've been debating whether I should retire my YouTube career already because I don't know how to deal with this kind of attention. And for a few of you who continue to watch my videos, I just got this functional mic from Gumtree. Finger crossed it's actually functional. It's the algorithm god. His Majesty has blessed me or cursed me with his mercy. So I digged a little bit deeper to say where all these views come from. And I realized that my video kind of resonates with a trendy group of videos so-called I don't dream of labor or I don't have a dream job. So after I watched a few popular ones, including the 2 commentary pieces from Alex Capella and Nat from Anarchy Nook, I'm left with a lot of thoughts. So basically, there have been an increasing number of millennials sharing their stories about how they quit their corporate jobs and settled with the fact that their dream jobs don't exist. These people, as Nat has pointed out, including myself, often have a university-educated background, went on to have a corporate job, learned about its reality, and decided to quit. And they solve their financial problem by becoming their own boss or working as a freelancer or staying in a small job, living frugally and investing their money so that they could have more time to do whatever else they enjoy to do in life. The common theme for these solutions is individual focus, using capitalism to fight capitalism in a sense. However, there's another way to solve this problem. As suggested by Nat and Alice, we should solve this problem at a systematic level or class level. I'm quite divided on this. So I want to share my thoughts here and I hope that you guys could enlighten me on this issue. For me, personally, I lean more towards solving this problem at individual level. I don't know in the future if I would change my mind after educating myself more on this topic. Though for now, I disagree with Alice and Nat. I love their contents and the fact that they speak up what they believe so that everybody could sit down and have a conversation. They are the 2 precious humans that need to be protected at all costs. So why do I lean more towards solving this problem at individual level? The first reason is that the people who try to promote solutions at class level often carry out their arguments with an anti-capitalist sentiment. And I'm not an anti-capitalist. I'm also not trying to promote any kind of system or ism because I think it's very easy to fall prey to ideology when my view of the world is still very opaque. People are anti-capitalist for several legitimate reasons. And thanks to the people who critique capitalism, capitalism is and will be kept in check, or that's what I hope. However, to jump from people are toiling away in their meaningless jobs and capitalism is the biggest culprit is like a big leap of faith in my opinion. Here I'm being very specific. I'm critiquing the presumed link between capitalism and the toxicity of work culture. I'm not here to discuss capitalism versus socialism because it's too big of a topic for me. So here's my logic. Firstly, I don't think any country is purely capitalistic. So when there's a social issue, let's say the epidemic of unfulfilling jobs, how much of the degree of the problem comes from the system and how much of it comes from merely human nature? If it's purely the fault of the system, which part of the system? Is it the capitalistic part or is it the non-capitalistic part? How can we know for sure? And if we look at countries such as China, Vietnam, Myanmar, those that are less capitalistic than the world average, does it mean that significantly more people feel fulfilled in their jobs in those countries than those, for example, in Australia? Secondly, I think people tend to think that it's the capitalists who perpetuate all these bullshit jobs. However, in my experience, it's the managements that give life to most bullshit tasks. And as much as you would love to think that your higher managers, including the CFO and the CEOs, represent the evil corporates or the capitalists, they are in fact just normal office workers that get paid to do their job. They may live more comfortably on their salaries than the majority of other workers, but it doesn't mean that they are much different from you or me. Plus, a lot of the bullshit are not intentionally created by some evil forces. They are merely the byproducts of incompetence, of inefficiencies, of egoistic human tendencies. And are these three attributes exclusive to capitalism? I don't think so. The second reason is that I actually mentioned this briefly as my critique on Graeber's book. People feel that their jobs are meaningless. It doesn't mean that their jobs are objectively meaningless. Plus, a bullshit job to this one person could be something meaningful to another. We value things very differently. So even though people are sharing a common sentiment, feeling whether or not this one thing is meaningless for each individual is quite personal. That's why I tend to solve this problem at a personal level. If you talk about the people who work in manufacturing lines or jobs that are monotonous, unfairly paid, mentally taxing, who don't have enough power to negotiate for better working conditions, then yes, I agree. I think they should be represented and act collectively to gain the negotiating power. I'm also quite keen on the idea of degrowth, as in people need to chill the hell out so that workers and people who are in dire economic circumstances are not squeezed to death. However, there's a line between the people who actually are in need and a bunch of millennials who live in the first world countries finding out that they are not happy with their jobs and deciding to do something else. I think the problem needs to be broken down into specific high resolution areas instead of clumping everything together. There's only one of very, very, very few arrangements for people to be happy. However, there are countless arrangements for people to be miserable. So for me, being unfulfilled in a job is like there's nothing to be surprised there. Finding a job that you like, that you're good at, that is meaningful, that is financially sustainable, that fostering creativity, it's like hitting a live jackpot. And to build a system in which most people could hit a jackpot of their own in a prolonged period of time and accommodate to any changes of mind. For example, in 5 years, I'm bored with the job I'm doing and I want change, and instantly I could get something that could satisfy me. I'm quite skeptical. I told you I have a loser mindset. Probably that explains why I'm not so optimistic about this utopia. Also, when we trace to find the cause of something, we need to be able to distinguish between proximate causes and ultimate causes. How can we be so sure that capitalism is the ultimate cause and not a proximate one? What if the ultimate cause of this whole thing is rooted in human psychology and behavior and then manifests into certain undesirable attributes existing in capitalism? If this is really the case, then getting rid of capitalism will not solve any problem. The problematic facade may disappear, but the root would still spring into something else under any systems other than capitalism. Another reason is that I personally don't like it when people clump a bunch of wildly different people into one group based on a few common superficial attributes and then make a generalized claims about them as a class. I grew up half of my life looking at the world through that kind of lens, so I'm not so keen anymore. Maybe I'm extremely biased here. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, this is the right way to solve social problem. Maybe I'm not enlightened enough to see it. The rhetoric to strengthen solidarity among people who share this one common thing but differ widely on 99 other things is a double-edged sword because it plays the emotion game, not personally, but collectively. It was a tool to create the most glorious achievement of mankind, but it was also used to create the most horrible atrocity of humanity. I'm not against using it, but for me, I'm just extra cautious. when touching that kind of thing. So these are my initial thoughts on this topic, and my general approach is that before I'm sure about the ultimate cause and the degree of universality of a specific problem, I tend to solve it at individual level. I of course educate myself more on this topic because this is something I care about. For now, I feel like I just threw a bunch of questions out without answering any. I may change my mind after I read the books recommended by Nat and Alex. I don't know. And on my last note, I've been enjoying reading comments from you guys, and thank you so much for your support. The internet is not as cruel as I thought it would be. And I'll work on my pronunciation. And as suggested by one viewer, I would make subtitles so that you guys don't mistake my superior English with some alien language. A few of you may question if I quit my bullshit job to become a bullshit YouTuber. Thanks for overestimating my ability. I may be delusional, but not that delusional to think that YouTube could sustain my belly. I don't consider myself as a YouTuber. I enjoy making videos, and that's it. Right now, I'm doing accounting slash reporting service for small businesses. It's a small gig I have, and I'm so far happy with my life decision and my financial situation. Right now, I have more time to read and talk shit on the internet. What more could I ask for?